Welcome to Sarajevo, a city that's famous for one thing, but that's got so much more on offer. Fascinating history, incredible culture, and an assassination that changed the world. It's going to be a great video, so join me. So there's a tradition in Sarajevo, a bit of a folk tale that I think I want to try out this morning, because it's meant to help you with all your life's dilemmas. It's called the Tomb of the Seven Brothers. Apparently if you say a little prayer there and put some money in, when you come back, the first thing that you hear someone say will be the answer to your dilemma. 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll come back, and if I can understand what someone's saying, I'll know what the answer to my dilemma is. Apparently it's a place where many people have been killed and buried due to misfortune. It started off with some thieves who they'd robbed town hall or something, and then they got executed, and then they found out that they caught the thieves somewhere else, so the two guys had been executed, hadn't done it. And then there was 4 counts, if you will, like bays, and they allowed the Hungarians, the Austro-Hungarians, to attack, but there was no way to know that they were going to do it. So it's a place of misfortunate deaths. So now you can go down there and pray and hope, you get your problems answered. Eh? This whole area was actually donated by a guy called Gazi Huzrev Bey, this guy who really helped make a bunch of Sarajevo possible. The Ottomans themselves made Sarajevo. It really in a very dramatic way, that the city didn't exist before that, other than a settlement. And in his legacy, Gazi, which I'm sure is not how he's meant to be referred to, donated so much just to make the city a better place. Like, this was a university for the students, the library that's here, so many things that he kind of gave to the city for the sake of his spiritual well-being, I think, and for the sake of giving to the city.
Something doesn't look quite right about those numbers.
The weird thing about this clock tower is that it's using Arabic numbers. Now I know what you're thinking. All numbers are Arabic numbers. The numbers that we use are Arabic numbers, but these are Indo-Arabic numbers, I think, or Old Arabic numbers, and the time on the clock is wrong. But it's right because these old clock towers had nothing to do with midnight, because midnight's not important. What it symbolises, 12 o'clock on that clock, is sunset. They keep this one. The guy who fixes this clock does it twice a week, and is an old jeweller who works in the old town, and he goes up, and he's this old guy that climbs up this clock and sets it. It used to be done every single day, but now it's just done a couple of times a week, mainly because the guy's an old fella, so he just sets the clock a bit fast. So one day it's wrong, it's slow, one day it's slow, one day it's on time, one day it's fast, and then he does it again. This whole place used to be where caravans of travelling people would stop, and you could sleep here for free. Every 30 kilometres or so there'd be another place where travellers and merchants could sleep, and where all the shops are now is where all the animals would have been in the time, and upstairs you'd have been able to stop. 3 days of free room and board if you want it. I will admire the pigeons, but I don't need to touch them. It's difficult to even recognise that this siege even happened. I mean, it was within my lifetime. Everything around us, everything. From up on those mountains that was full of Republika Srpska troops was just raining down shells and bullets for 4 years, killing 11,000 people. In the 1990s. So when they built this town hall, all the buildings that were here were destroyed. They paid out the people who lived here. And everyone was like, cool, they're paying me a bunch of money to move house, I'll take it, I don't care, that's good. Apart from one person, one old man who lived there, probably didn't like the Austro-Hungarians very much at all anyway, and he was like, no, you're gonna have to pay me, but I also need you to take down my house brick by brick and rebuild it somewhere else. Inatkuka. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but I know that it means spite house. This is the house that used to be there. You've just got to respect that. Nothing better than a bit of a spite house. So this house that used to stand over there, rebuilt brick by brick. It's pretty remarkable, honestly. Where I'm from, the Bosnian War was just a thing that happened. No one really knew much about it. Everyone knows of Bosnia as the place where a war happened. I don't quite think that what happened in Sarajevo is well known enough. How the siege of Sarajevo was so brutal, the longest siege in modern history, especially the capital city. The way that they suffered here. The fact that just on these streets right where I am right now, women and children, truly remarkable that Sarajevo made it, I think. Other than the Bosnian War though, there's one other thing that happened in Sarajevo that it's probably best known for, and that was the match that lit the bonfire that was World War I happened right here. Well, it didn't, it happened
There. Right there.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne, whilst Austria-Hungary still controlled the place, thought I'm going to have a nice quick trip through Sarajevo, show the fine folks that I'm a good guy. And the young Bosnians had a very different idea about that. The young Bosnians wanted Bosnia to be Bosnia, not Austro-Hungary. They had no control over their own lives at all. And then, helped by a more extremist group, which are called the Black Hand, who are based out of Serbia, a plan was hatched, and some guns and some cyanide and some grenades were given out. And stood right here, Gabriela Princip shot both Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sofia. This corner is known as the place where the 20th century started, and you can't really argue with that. Right there was a butterfly effect that destroyed the lives of tens of millions of people. All the empires that went into the World War I, none of them came out. Another great little thing I found out about Sarajevo is that during the Ottoman time, eventually they relented and they allowed the Christians to build their own churches, you know, within reason. This is one that they built. This is the Orthodox Cathedral. However, they did find out that the tower, the spire on the Orthodox Cathedral, was a tiny bit taller than the tallest minaret. So they got a big grant out from the government at the mosque to build just a little bit more on top of the minaret, so that technically this tower wasn't the tallest in town anymore. I love stuff like that. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't matter, but it does matter to the people who really care about it. There's zero chance that they didn't do that on purpose. I'd have put a flag on top of the church afterwards to really annoy people. Might not look like much, but that's the Rose of Sarajevo. It's a place where a bomb literally hit the ground and they've preserved it, because people died there. That was an explosion where people actually died, and they kind of kept it there for posterity to remember what happened. The whole facade of this church was completely rebuilt, so this is the Catholic Church, and they rebuilt it so that, you know, so it looks nice again, but they kept one portion of it how it looked after the siege. And then once this giant wizard came to town, I know that's the Pope. I don't think there's a city I've ever seen that's got such a amazing blend of cultures and so well preserved on purpose. They've preserved all that culture that really looks Eastern and really looks Western, but they've kept it separate and different and preserved it for what it is, because it is what makes the people, and it is what makes the place. Well, I've been gone all day, so it's time to return to the monument for the Seven Brothers to see if anyone says anything to me that solves my life's dilemmas. The only issue is there's not really anyone around to tell me anything, and even if they did, it'd probably be in Bosnian, wouldn't it? Huh. Anyone got anything to say? Anyone got any good advice? Keep my ears open for the next person to tell me something. Maybe the answer will just come to me. I love little traditions like that, little things that people do. And every time I've went to that place, there's been people outside there putting money into the little slots and trying to say a prayer or ask for help. I've had a good day though. Maybe I learnt a lesson as I walked. That's certainly possible. Maybe I answered my own question. Yes? What? What is it? Oh no. You're just a kitten. It's okay. Oh my gosh, I love you. Oh my goodness, I love you. It's hard to say goodbye to that kitten, I'll tell you that much. I'll say this about Sarajevo. The second you want to get outside of like the main part of town, it is uphill. And not just like a little bit uphill. It's basically directly straight up. You know, it's not even the uphill that's the problem, it's the downhill. Has destroyed my shins. Just destroyed them. I refuse to surrender. This hill that I'm on right now was one of the really hard fought areas of the siege of Sarajevo. And I tell you what, 1992, 1992, 93, 92, 94, 92, 92, 92, 93, 92. Gosh. I've actually seen this cemetery in documentaries. Bruce Dickinson came here from Iron Maiden. There's an amazing documentary called Scream for Me Sarajevo, which tells the story of when Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden came to Sarajevo during the height of the war, the siege, to put on a show to give these people some normal life. Scream for Me Sarajevo, probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, that documentary talks about music and rock and roll and the people just trying to live normal lives in the face of just a genocide going on. Like ducking for cover, running from street to street, being shelled, practicing their guitars when there's no electricity. I'll tell you what, it gave me a really great respect for Bruce Dickinson. You know, the people in these graves are 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, 30s. And the whole siege of Sarajevo really feels like another one of those not in our lifetime kind of things. How could this happen in our lifetime? And it's amazing how many of those not in our lifetime, never again type of things happen over and over again. This is the Yellow Bastion. It was a fortification built to keep the Austro-Hungarians out, which I suppose didn't work in the end, but now it's a place with apparently the best view of the city, so I'm excited to see. Wow. Yeah. It's a pretty good view. It's just a really beautiful city. Really beautiful. Probably a good place to end the video as everyone's watching the sunset over Sarajevo. There's a new video every Wednesday. And until then, onwards and upwards everyone.